what, Betty, I'm gonna do the minutes tonight. I don't wanna, I don't know what she's gonna, I'm gonna do the minutes.
Okay,
You know,
all right.
I don't wanna get caught up, you
Do you
know.
have,
Yeah, I'll just
no
do 'em.
paper?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, I don't wanna end up with 5 meetings that, then we don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
No,
just-
she's got a bad sinus
Yeah,
infection.
I don't wanna,
She's been going to
I
doctors.
feel uncomfortable just leaving them not done either, so I'll just keep doing them for a while.
She said,
She's
when
been
she
sick
went
for a
to
month.
CVS, people are out of medicine, they're out of Mucinex, they're out of, you know,
Yeah.
you have to wait for whatever is being ordered for you.
All right, we're on.
In advance.
All set? Thank you. Groveland Board of Selectmen meeting Monday, January 12th. And first of all, we'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're a little behind. Kathy Castronellis is here for the 6 PM resident public comment section of our meeting. You all set, Kath?
Yes, I am, thank you. I wanted to read a letter that I think you all have copies of. I wanted you to have a copy in advance too. And I would like, if it's okay, if you would attach it to the minutes so it's a record of my presence at the meeting. That would be appreciated. So, dear Honorable Board of Selectmen, I am writing this letter, which is long overdue, to commend the Groveland Police Department, and in particular, Chief Robert Kamelowitz and Deputy Chief Jeff Gillen, for their ongoing support and expertise regarding the investigation into the death of our daughter, Jacqueline Castronellis. I come to you tonight in public to read this letter on Groveland Public Access Television, so that all the citizens of Groveland may be made aware of the outstanding caliber and integrity of these two individuals who comprise the leadership of our police department. When we first learned of our Jackie's death, we were understandably paralyzed and grief-stricken, struggling each moment to deal with decisions and questions regarding our daughter's death, which occurred half a world away from us. We were so lost and we needed so much help. Chief Kamelowitz and Deputy Chief Gillen made their services and expertise immediately available to us. They did for us in those days immediately following Jackie's death what no other person could do. They helped us connect with this long-distance loss and provided us some peace of mind as they shouldered our burden and helped us navigate through the myriads of red tape to return our daughter home for burial in her beloved Groveland. Next, above and beyond what we expected, the deputy chief sat with us and helped us review police investigative reports, searching to make some sense of this horrible loss. The chief and deputy chief were always there for us as the investigation continued, never too busy to take a call and or sit down to review a new report or finding. Words will never appropriately convey how meaningful and important their work was to us. I learned firsthand that while we may be a small town, there is nothing small about the talents, level of expertise and integrity of our police chief and deputy police chief. I have been told by people wiser than I that when you go through a loss such as ours, you see life more clearly for what it is, and you see people more clearly for whom they are. My eyes are wide open now, and I know that we have, in our town, an exceptional police department managed by a police chief and deputy chief who not only have the talents and expertise, which in most instances probably exceed the day-to-day requirements of our small, lovely town, but in addition, they care deeply and passionately about residents that they serve, and I am humbled by their caring and integrity. I hope that my letter tonight provides some insight into what I and my family have borne witness to this almost past 2 years. It is still difficult for myself or my family to speak openly about our Jackie, but I felt inspired to deliver this message at this time. I hope that the Board of Selectmen will accept this letter in the heartfelt manner in which it was written and commend our police chief and deputy chief for their selfless actions. Sincerely, Kathleen Castronellis, 12 Hillview Drive.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for your nice words. We appreciate that.
You're welcome. I was glad to say them.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate the words, and I know your family has gone through quite a bit. And it's good to see that our local guys helped with a little bit of the closure.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
We'll make sure Denise, we'll put these in your
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
attached.
that'll be attached to the minutes, absolutely.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah,
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just for the record, I'm gonna maintain minutes for this evening.
That would be good.
Yeah.
We have warrants to approve, we have payroll, and if somebody would make a motion to do the payroll warrant,
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Payroll warrant, number 15-29 for a total of $137,150.34. Do I have a second?
Seconded?
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
And I abstain,
Abstain?
record show. We have deduction warrant and bill warrant. If somebody would like to read both of those, please.
Let me just, done and abstained on Betty. Okay. The deduct warrant number 15-27A for a total of $21,098.38.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Just
unanimous.
write down. Did you vote on that, Betty?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. Betty, yes, okay. Last one is bill warrant number 15-29, excuse me, for a total of $678,023.84.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous, Joe.
Okay, unanimous on the last one, too. Great.
So we have an appointment to make of Jennifer Cardigan?
Cardigan, yeah.
Cardigan, at 15 Philbrook Street in Groveland, to fill a space on the Open Space and Trails Committee at the request of the chair, Alex Johnson. And did she send something to us, or there's just, did we get any little brief?
I know Alex sent us an email effectively recommending her appointment and and asking us to approve it.
I think he did that back in November, too.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any background with her, or what her criteria is to bring to the Open Space Committee are, or does she, it'd be nice to see what she has, like a background, or?
It's a good point, Bill. I don't see any qualifications. Of course, volunteering
I know,
is
I know.
is all the.
And I'm not saying that's, should
No,
stop
I
it.
understand.
I'm just saying it'd be
We
nice
want
to
to, we want to celebrate the.
celebrate
Yeah.
and say what she brings to the board and
Yeah.
what have you.
I'm sure that she spoke with Alex,
Yeah.
and probably other members, and
Yep.
Alex felt that, you know, where they are looking for people, that she would be a good fit for that
Right.
committee. So do I have a motion to appoint Jennifer to the Open Space and
I
Trails?
would make a motion to appoint her to the Open Space and Trails.
All right, and I'll second that motion.
Very good. And we've had a little discussion. We didn't have any bio, but that's okay. I'm sure when we talk with Alex, he'll tell us that
Mhm.
she'll be an asset to his committee. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Okay. We have discussion period here. Is Mike coming in at 6:20?
I'm sure he is, and then we have.
We're a little early.
A little early, yeah. Well, maybe we could take a few minutes just to read some of the documents that are in the packet,
Right.
because I did some online over the weekend, but they need a little bit more time. Maybe you can help me, because we're gonna talk about this in a few minutes. I'm trying to understand the issue that's coming up on the agenda tonight regarding the traffic lights. So let me read this again. This was a little confusing to me.
I did have a little conversation with Denise about it.
Oh,
too.
okay, maybe you can help me understand.
Well, Shinbro has had the jurisdiction, I believe.
Okay.
Of these, of the
Traffic
traffic
lights,
lights at the Bates Bridge. And soon they will be turning that over to us. So
So we're not gonna get charged for that, but of course, it's our maintenance issue?
it'll be a maintenance issue. And if I have that right, I think that's what we have to do. Groveland Light will take care of this for us.
Oh,
We'd
I
have to
see.
give them notice, and there'll be a final reading and a transfer of accounts, and they must come by periodically to calibrate these lights, don't, Bill, you must know
Yeah.
about road jobs
I think so.
and traffic lights.
Yep.
and-
So, one of my questions was, is Groveland Light gonna maintain these lights? If they break? It says the streets along the bridge upon barricade,
Transfer ownership
ownership, so
To-
it must be
yeah.
transferring the ownership to the light department.
to the
So-
town, and then we would be in touch with the light department.
Well, that's what I'm
We'll need to
wondering.
give Groveland Electric at least 3 days' notice for final readings.
Right, this is talking about the reading, but I'm talking about the maintenance and who's gonna
They want us to
I'm
take.
sure they must have a company that installed all these and.
Exactly.
They must have a warranty with these lights, so I think we should check into the warranty, number one, how long these lights are gonna be warranted, and number two, I think we should find out, is Groveland Light gonna maintain these lights? Are they gonna be in charge of them? Is it the town that's supposed to be in charge of them? So, or the police, I mean, it's pretty involved.
Well, it says here we should consider voting tonight to take ownership of the accounts.
Right, but I don't feel comfortable voting until I
Without-
have all the information before me.
12 street lamps on both the east and west sides of the bridge for a total of 24. Should you require additional account detail prior to the 12th of January Selectmen meeting, please contact me at, we have a number here. As an aside, my final day at Schermborough will be January 9th. Well, that ship has sailed, right? My replacement, Deb Croto, will follow up. So we certainly can
But no,
ask those questions.
the transfer of electric accounts, of traffic lights and street lights, it's saying accounts. But then it goes on to saying ownership, so that's what throws me off, that I like to clarify what burden we're taking on. Are we taking on just the account part of it, or are we taking on?
I think we're taking on the.
Ownership.
Assuming all the
Right,
responsibility,
so
which we have to.
I'm sure we
that
do,
was
but
part of the.
I would like to
whole-
just make sure that we have in place the people that are gonna take care of them. Maybe the light department's already knows about it, I don't know.
I
This
would
letter
think so.
doesn't clearly state.
Well, you want to hold off voting on this until we
I would
get
like to
some
hold off
more
voting myself until
definitive
we get a little more
information?
information, and maybe we can, if you want,
We can call Deb Croto
Right.
at this number,
and find out about
and
ownership.
we can ask the electric light, we can ask Mike for more detail.
Right,
Maybe, Betty, a suggestion, maybe you can authorize Bill to do the fact-finding on behalf of the
yeah, I
board.
don't mind
Wanna
doing
do
it, sure,
that?
I'll take care of it.
And then Bill, just take some notes, and if
Yep.
you want to do it in email, or any way you want to
Right.
deliver the information.
Make some inquiries about
Yeah.
ownership. What does ownership mean?
Ownership means you own them and you're responsible
responsible for
for repairing
everything,
them,
so-
you're responsible for everything.
Right.
So let me think, so you got, between all of us, we're talking ownership. Ownership,
Maintenance.
we're talking about maintenance,
Yeah, is the electric department gonna charge the town for
Electric?
maintenance?
cost
Yeah.
to who?
Yeah, it is Groveland Electric Light Department, our maintenance people, and what are the costs that we
yeah.
might be assuming?
And also warranty.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
do the
warranties, good.
And
very
Might as well,
What was
might
that?
as well ask the electric department, what's the estimated maintenance cost on these once warranties are,
Yeah.
over?
And Betty, you had a point, what was your point? You just said?
good.
So far I got ownership, the maintenance, the electric cost, to who's
Is
the
it Groveland
cost?
Electric Light
Is it
Dep-
Groveland or
Yeah,
warranty and estimated cost to run output?
right,
And-
I'd like to know what their feelings are. I mean, they know the Shimbro people.
Right.
Other people have these costs associated with lights and bridges. What are we looking for? Do we have to put money in the budget in case something
I
like
really-
that
I mean,
happen?
I understand.
We never had them before. Okay, I think I got a good feel for what needs to be
It's
done.
very unusual, you get a letter saying, we're gonna
Here
give
you
you,
go.
we're gonna give you the streetlights on the bridge.
Right,
We have
And
account
You have
numbers.
to take them over and,
right, well, I'm sure,
okay, that's great.
we gotta find out
What
what
does that mean?
department's gonna handle it.
All right, so if you find all of that out, you wanna write up something, a
Yep.
report?
I will.
Next
And
time we
then-
meet,
And maybe what you wanna do is email it to
Denise.
Denise and copy Betty as well,
Right,
okay? We don't wanna deliberate on it, just say, here's the information,
Right.
and then,
because I don't think we don't have,
enough information.
we can't decline to do this.
No, no,
So
right,
we just
I
need to
agree.
know what we're
And we
getting
just need some
into.
more information on it, that's all we're
Right.
looking for.
You
Well,
got it.
what's that thing about beware of people that bear gifts?
Yeah, it's too good to be true.
Okay.
All right, good job. All right, we'll do that. So you write it out and send a copy to Denise and
Yep.
Betty, and Betty won't respond to you, or I don't need to see it?
No, well, Denise will
We'll
pass the
just
findings along, I'm
pass
sure,
along,
right?
pass it on?
This is, you know,
Yep.
and Denise, when I went in, she said, I just wanted to bring you so it's on Sheen
Yeah,
Post.
and
Is
hopefully we can wait till the 26th to vote on it.
that when we meet again?
Yeah.
We could meet soon if
Okay.
we had to, or I could.
All right, if we have to, we'll get together sooner.
Okay.
We'll post a meeting to sign off if we have to, but
Now, we have, we're still gonna wait for Mike for a few minutes.
Yeah,
Bill,
he's
you had some
I
discussion
had some
and you gave
discussion,
us
do you wanna
packets.
get into it now, or do you
And
wanna wait?
Joe had some areas that he wanted to bring us up to date on. So we didn't accept the traffic lights, we will do that at a later day. We can do the one-day liquor license
yeah, why don't we do
for
that?
Pentucket Educational Foundation.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Um,
Okay, I looked at that, there's an event at VZ Park on January 31st, between 7 and 11, Pentucket Educational Foundation. And they're gonna have a fundraiser event, and they asked for a liquor license. Looks like everything's in good order. There was also attached to that the insurance, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the request for the one-day liquor license for Pentucket Education Foundation.
Seconded?
And that's
Motion.
January 31st.
31st, yeah. And Bill,
Made the second.
31st.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And no discussion.
And I'm sure they have the list of what's required of them, and they've done this before, so I'm sure they have all the information.
Since we're in the category of votes
Mhm.
of the board, the next item on the agenda, Betty, if you want to take a look at that, the DPW contract addendum.
Yes. Denise told us she was going to be meeting with the representative from Teamsters. I think it was after we met last time. And they
Right.
came up with a, that's not what it's Denise's. Here it is, DPW addendum. And have you all had a chance to?
I have.
I did.
Look at this? Okay. And everybody feels that this is fair?
I think
And
it's
it's
fair.
a way to retain good people?
Absolutely, yeah.
And for others, if they choose to attain more licenses, then they know that they
Can make more money,
can have a better paycheck.
right.
And we just lost somebody that was very talented who had all these licenses, and he chose to move on to another department in the Commonwealth. So do I have a vote to accept this motion?
I'll make a motion to accept this DPW addendum, December 31st, 2014. It's basically the hourly rate change on
Incentive.
different applications of who could work there and licenses they would carry.
I'll second that and I'll open it for discussion. Just so the public understands the details, some of the details, that there's an incentive per hour of what's paid for obtaining additional licenses to work in the DPW. So for example, 4G license, a 4E license, a CDL Class A license, a trapper license. If you acquire those while you work for the DPW, your income will be increased by 75 cents an hour. Other licenses at the discretion of the road commissioner could be also attributed to the 75 cents an hour. These incentives will be added to the base, provided they are current and in good standing. There's also, on this same request, which we're voting on, a request for addition of a new position, a junior operator, driver and laborer, really a combination position that requires a CDL Class C and 2B licenses. For July 1st of 2015, for the beginning of fiscal year, $19 an hour, and for fiscal year following that, fiscal year 2016, $19.57. So for the current fiscal year, $19 an hour, and $19.57 after that. So that's a little bit of the detail what Mr. Arakilian has requested, and that's what we're voting on, and I have seconded that, Bill's motion.
This becomes effective January 15th and shall end June 30th, 2017.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Good, I'm glad they got this done
that's unanimous.
with the Teamsters representative. And we have a document to sign, so if you would
Oh,
do that, that
okay.
would be great.
You don't do this, Betty, do you?
There you go.
Yeah, we will. We'll do that.
Okay.
Give that to Denise. She said she'd pick up our papers. We have to sign that liquor license that we approved for the Education Foundation.
I want to sign it too.
Yep. Traffic lights, more information needed. Liquor license, contract. Good.
Thank you.
This is Denise's information here. We have a letter from a long-standing board member who has resigned from the Finance Committee, and he was the representative on the Capital, the Community Preservation Committee. And that's, Mr. Tom Minicello has resigned from the Groveland Community Preservation Committee and from the Groveland Finance Committee. Tom has served on the Groveland Finance Committee for well over a decade, I believe, and he's certainly done a great job for the community. He'll be missed. We will have to replace him because that committee's in the middle of budget
Yeah.
negotiations with people.
Yeah, I wonder if they have a candidate. Did you hear anything?
No,
from
I think we ought to let people know that we'll be looking for people who are interested to send just a brief notice to us or paragraph of their interest in signing on to either of those committees. But I think this Finance Committee sends somebody over to Capital or
Right.
Community
Right.
Preservation, so that somebody's gonna have to do double duty there. And Bill Cook should be notified of this because he's chair of that committee. He'll need to, he may have somebody in mind too. So just thank you to Tom. I don't know if
Yeah,
you-
he worked hard and long for the town.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
He's done a good job.
Enjoyed working with Tom over the years on the school committee as well.
Right, he's
Always a good sounding board with the school budget.
very invested in his community.
Absolutely.
Thank
Sorry
you,
to see him
Tom.
move on.
Something regarding the bridge.
Oh, yeah, I was,
Did you see that?
yeah, just so the public knows, I'm gonna read an item of correspondence here from David Tuttle, who's the commander of Post 248 here locally. The state has finally, I'll read this out, the state finally approving the additional wording on the Groveland Bridge. The original name of the bridge was Congressman William H. Bates Bridge, and it will now be called Congressman William H. Bates Veterans Memorial Bridge. It is with sincere appreciation that I write to you all to say thank you on behalf of the American Legion Post 248 in Groveland. It's because of the support of all those that took the time to write letters supporting our endeavor that the name change has been approved. Now, in the spring, the state's gonna do a rededication of the bridge. There'll be a ceremony, and that's gonna be kind of exciting. We'll get the
Will be.
public involved in that, and we're getting an invitation to that as well through this letter. So that initiative from the local veterans, when they collaborated with Haverhill,
They do.
and then they went to the state to have a law passed under the sponsorship of Senator Tarr, the bridge is going to be rededicated. And just for the record, Congressman Bates was also a veteran. So this gives an opportunity to retain honoring him and his family, and also to honor our regional veterans as well as local veterans. So it's very exciting, and I have to say, very well done, David Tuttle, for being very, very focused and very persistent and going through a rather complicated process, actually, to rename a bridge. It's not it's something you do
No,
every
it's not
day.
easy.
So,
Thank
God
you,
bless
David Tuttle. We appreciate that. And he signed it Semper Fi. We'll
well,
be looking forward to that spring dedication.
you want to stay on correspondence? A couple of
I
items here?
think we should. We've
Yeah,
got,
might as well.
um,
We received, well, actually, there's an item here. I had sent a response to you, Betty, regarding a concern that you had expressed, so I'll just comment a little bit on that.
sure.
I took a look at the handbook for Massachusetts Selectmen. I have looked at that over the last year and a half or so, and I just want to, be clear that the reason why two items that you brought up, one of them is I do attend public meetings, and the second item is I do belong to a few boards. So let me talk about the boards very quickly. There's 4 boards that I'm involved with. The first one was actually your invention. You and Bill Dark created it. It's the Government Advisory Council. And you had, that was, I had,
Jack.
yeah, about 2 years ago, I came to you and Bill and Don Greenie, and I said, there seems to be an interest in a 5-member board. I'm thinking of doing a petition. I really don't know how to go about it. What do you think? And Bill said, why don't we do a study? And I said, well, how do you do that? Well, we'll form a committee, and you can be on it, Joe, and we'll give you a special charge, you meaning the committee. And I said, well, that sounds like a great idea. So I asked you, Betty, if you would join, and we did some pretty important work. We went through an 18-month study. We had a lot of people involved, interviewed people from all over government, and then ultimately advised on our vote to transform our Board of Selectmen into a 5-member board. So that's one of the committees that I'm on. That committee basically has been in recess since last year.
Yeah.
We really don't have anything on any agenda. Our studies have been completed, and we may disband it, as the Board of Selectmen may decide just to disband it in June.
That committee was made up of a lot of good people, thoughtful people.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
The other committee that I'm actively on is the Cable and TV. Now, God rest his soul, you remember Ken Hamilton. He actually recruited me before I was a Board of Selectmen. He says, would you be interested in joining this board? We have a vacancy. So I went to a meeting, and I got really interested in Ken's vision. He had an amazing vision, along with the board, to transform our cable and TV into what it's emerging today. There was a sizable account of about $200,000. It's money that we collect in a special account that's provided to us by Comcast. I attended my first meeting after you and Don Greenie had appointed me on this board. And then Ken and the board laid out the vision and how we were going to go about it and engage in a process to invest some money. We ended up investing $167,000 to buy all of the upgrades that we now have after 10 years. Unfortunately, shortly afterwards, Ken passed. But it was very, very moving for me and all the board members to fulfill his vision. So I'm very proud to be on that board. And I do have the opportunity to get updates when things go a little wrong, if you will, because Chris LaCory will send me updates on technical glitches that we've had, like we had one over the weekend.
Over the weekend, we did, for 2 or 3 days.
So the other board that I'm on is the Regional Finance Committee. Now, Bill Dark was on that committee for many, many years. Unlike any other board, we have to have a Board of Selectmen member on that.
Representative.
A representative. And I remember asking you and Donnie if either one of you were interested in that, and didn't seem to be much interest. So I volunteered for that because I thought with the 6 years of being on the school committee, the Regional Finance Committee basically meets approximately 3 times a year, sometimes 4, and they basically help shape the budget policy with the school committee. That's their primary. You have a member of the Board of Selectmen from each town, you have the business manager from the school, and you have the finance directors from each
So
town.
Denise goes to that
Which
meeting
Denise goes
also.
to that as well. And the last board that I'm actually on that is also there's 3 active boards, is the Community Preservation Committee. So in looking at the manual, it's absolutely legal to be on boards and commissions. In fact, my experience at the school committee has been over 6 years that you typically are on 2 or 3 committees. That's where the work is done. And I talked to some folks that have been in municipal matters and in positions, and they, being on boards and commissions sometimes prevents working in the shadows. So, for example, it would not be appropriate for me to try to influence public policy in an area of interest, like, let's say, community preservation. So to mitigate that tendency that could exist, not specifically with me, but any one of us in office, the best thing to do is to actually be on a committee and just have a vote and have a say. So I belong on these boards because there's a need, there were vacancies, they all come due, I believe, all of them come due in June. I've been appointed by the Board of Selectmen to be on them, and of course, I'm extremely transparent by being a member of these boards and by being a participating member and having a vote and a voice. The other item is I do go to meetings often, and I do that specifically for the purpose of learning as much as I can about the town. I'm new to this position. As you probably know, unfortunately, a lot of things come to us when they are in crisis state. So it's always a good idea to try to learn a little bit about what's going on. I'll give you an excellent example. I went to a planning board meeting a week ago, and I can't comment on specific until the minutes are released, but I got one heck of an education on how a development, a subdivision, is proposed, how it's created, and how the local citizens, the abutters, have an opportunity to engage with the developers in the early stages. It was quite an education. I was very excited to learn about that. On January 17th, when we have a all-board meeting, if those minutes are released, I'll be in a position to be able to make some specific observations I can share in terms of that particular project. So we are encouraged, the law enables us to go to meetings. The handbook for Massachusetts Selectmen has a section about that, especially important in finance. So for example, tonight, Bill may recommend some changes to the, not changes, recommendations for the capital improvement. It might not be a bad idea with your blessing to have, expect that Bill can attend that meeting and deliver some of this information. So my rules for attending meetings is I always call the chair and let them know. I effectively do ask for permission, which I've been told is absolutely not necessary. I never ask for an agenda item. I've always written something and provided this board with my findings or my observations, and I don't direct any policy decisions, I don't deliberate anything, and I actually don't speak up unless I'm asked a question. So I kind of hold myself to those rules, and the response from the committee members and the chairs has been positive. Thanks for checking in, it's good to see you, someone from the Board of Selectmen. So I encourage you, both of you, to also attend meetings. The only thing is we need to let each other know, so when I go to a...
That was my point.
Yeah,
because,
when I go to a meeting, I'll let you and I'll let Denise know so that we don't get caught
Because
into a situation where 2 or 3 of us are there,
and
which
if-
could potentially cause quorum
One of you
issues.
gentlemen, have I misplaced my keys? Do you have a key to my office, Bill?
I don't.
No?
No.
Nobody does?
No.
I think Ann will. Thank you.
All right.
So I just wanted to respond, because you had brought up some legitimate
Because-
concerns.
we always were cautioned, if 2 of us went to a meeting, then we needed to be posted.
Right.
And then you get mixed signals, well, you both can go, but you're not voting on anything,
Right.
and those kinds of things, so. We are a group, we're not always in lockstep, but, we all have differing opinions.
I can tell you my opinion and I don't know if Joe's run into this yet, but I'm on the zoning board, and I know being a selectman on the zoning board, sometimes it's hard for me to sit there and make a decision because people think that I'm putting out my selectman, you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not there for that influence, but I'm not there to influence anyone, I'm in there to make a good decision, and I have to prove that, but it is sometimes hard for me to do that, you know, and I found that so far, but I'm sure it's not with all boards, it's just the position you can be in sometimes. That's the only thing that I say about it.
Right.
And more information's better, there's nothing wrong with having information, that's for sure.
Right, right, that's me, don't worry about it. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing that up. It was a legitimate concern, and I appreciate the opportunity to express, you know, my thoughts on your concerns, so thank you.
Well, I guess Mike
Not
got
coming.
tucked in and thought it was too cold to come out.
This is a first in 12 years, Mike Dempsey not showing up for a meeting. That's not, that's not a good sign. We probably can move on to, Bill has made a request for an agenda item, and this is to further discuss the capital improvement option 3 that we talked about at last meeting, December 29th.
So what I've done is I've handed you both a packet,
Okay?
and as we go through this, I've made it so we'll pull the papers off and go down through the packet. And I will start. I would like,
Just so the public is aware, this is a focus on the fire truck, or the ladder truck?
Is this the entire budget, Bill, or just the?
no, just a part of it.
Part of it, okay.
As I go through, Joe, I'll explain as I
All
go
right, fine,
through.
good.
The public will understand. I would like to have further discussion on option 3. Today, I am going to discuss option 3, especially on the discussion of the purchase of a ladder truck versus a pump truck. Option 3 has been previously discussed between the capital improvement, the finance committee, and the board's select women and men. This is the handout that we all saw during the meeting. It's on
Yeah.
top of your packet. Option 3 includes the potential of purchasing in 2016 a pump engine for the budget cost of $425,000. In 2017, a ladder truck with a budget cost of $850,000. Our department has stated there is a need for a ladder truck. My suggestion is a combination. It was presented to us by our fire department about a bigger need for a ladder truck versus a pump truck. I believe we can combine the two options into one. A model quint truck gives a combination of a pump, ladder, truck all in one. My research, I believe we need a ladder truck sooner than later. My major reasons for the purchase is our current truck does not meet the federal safety standards. One of the problems, open cab, air system, length of ladder, and decreased liability of truck. Other surrounding towns have faced the same situation that we are currently facing. And I have different towns. One of them is Andover. Andover wanted a truck with a longer reach. They wanted to have a bucket on the end where 3 men could get into it. Littleton, Mass. was looking for, they needed a truck for reliability, safety, and for budget reasons. Onset, they found the safety standards, budget, and a new truck was unnecessary because they wanted and took a look at the option of sharing between 2 towns, buying a truck and sharing it between 2 towns, and also using mutual aid. I have given you guys all the articles, if you'd like to read them at a later date. And Wenham, Massachusetts bought a used truck. They had it for 5 years. They saved, and then ultimately bought a new truck. They bought a quint truck, and when they bought the quint truck had 5 different reasons they bought it. One of them was for the ladder, the pump, the capability of holding the water, and it had a certain size hose they were looking for. So, to back up what I'm saying, I got you some brochures. Truck usage. Bigger cities and towns need new vehicles because they wear out quicker. They are used 2 to 4 times per week. Our truck has less use due to having to travel approximately 5 miles from our station to a potential fire call. Through my research, it was possible for me to find trucks ranging from the price of $55,000 to $300,000. In the packet, you'll see 7 to 10 different trucks. Just to show you, it's not the truck I'm saying we're picking out, I'm just saying it shows you the price range of trucks. My recommendation is to purchase a used ladder truck instead of a new truck, which would potentially potentially cost us $850,000. This will allow our town to keep our firemen and women safe, save our town budget. The Quint truck will provide the town with a ladder pumper with a usage of 25 years. And this truck's within the cost to the town of $300,000. I would like the board to consider this option. It will save $550,000 in potential budget cost. This allows for an earlier purchase of a ladder truck. It fits our town needs while keeping our men and women safe. And most importantly, it does not burden our taxpayers. I would like to thank the Finance Board, the Capital Improvement Board, my fellow selectmen, women and men, and I'm looking forward to working on this issue in the future. Thank you.
So option 3, what I had recommended, which we had consensus on, for me, was to look at a ladder truck that was without a brand-new one, without a pump and without a tank, which could be around $500,000 versus $850,000. Now, what you've done tonight, Bill, is you've done some excellent research and really drilled down into that category and open it up to more than just my single suggestion. So,
What I was trying to do was I was trying to kill
Well
two
done.
birds with one stone.
yeah, no, that's fine. So we're still looking at option 3. That doesn't undo that part of the consensus. All we're doing is we're now fine-tuning, very importantly, we're fine-tuning additional options to add to my single option. So I think procedurally, what we want to do is we want to have Denise send a letter to the Capital Improvement Committee and say, you know, just to reiterate our consensus for option 3, and that here is additional data to fulfill that requirement for the ladder truck. And then say, you know, this is what we recommend. They asked us for input, so we gave them consensus. We said, yeah, we think option 3 is good. But now you took that piece
Well-
and added a lot more than my single
Right.
thought.
When we were having discussion that night, a gentleman sat out in the audience and he said that he had come up with a Quint truck as well, and that he thought it was a pretty good idea. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to meet what the chief was looking for, help the taxpayers, keep our budget in line, keep our men and women safe, and then get it all done, move that truck up. That night, we left saying that we were gonna try, and I thought we left going with a pump rather than a ladder, but maybe I misunderstood the meeting, but, at any rate, I thought we weren't gonna do the ladder till 2017,
No,
because it
agreed.
was so much money.
Right.
Agreed, yeah, agreed.
Right.
It's just,
So I'm trying to move the ladder out of 2017 up to 2016, kill all birds with one stone, save money, keep the guy safe. And if you go through that packet, you're gonna see trucks in there. You can buy a truck for $300,000 that have 6,000 miles on it, and,
Is that a ladder, are you speaking
a
about?
ladder and a pump. They call it a Quint truck.
It's a combination.
It's a combination, and you can get a good vehicle. And I did make a call on a few trucks. One truck was sold, but, you know, I can't speak for the chief. That's his job to pick out what
Right.
truck he wants. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to present to the town people to try and, you know, kill all birds with one stone and move the truck up from 2017. I know in our conversation in the past with the chief, he had an engine that was ready to be retired anyway, so maybe he can get his engine sooner than later. You know, that's all I was looking at.
yeah, by the way, Bill Cook from the Capital
Bill
Improvement
Cook,
Committee,
that's right.
he had made the same suggestion.
Yeah, he had done his research on the Quint.
So what I might ask Betty is, maybe I can draft a letter just to send to Denise. Say,
I gave Denise a packet right here.
yeah, just kind of a sample letter for her to send from us and say, you know, we favor option 2 and option 3 with a selection potentially of one of these type.
I think what we should do is, my
Type of
opinion is,
equipment.
I think Betty, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I think my opinion would
It's
be,
our
right,
decision.
right.
It's not
I
our
think,
decision.
I would like to see,
Along with the chief.
we're staying with option 3, but all we're trying to do is move the ladder up by going to the,
Are you
having,
talking about buying the ladder this year? 2016?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
and
it's
how about
gonna be
the
a-
other, how about the other vehicle?
The engine,
Yes,
Just switch?
no, no, hold on. The truck that I'm talking about buying has a pump and a ladder in it. It's called the Quint truck. It's 2 trucks in one.
so
I'm
it
saying
is
move
a
the,
ladder and it
it's a
is
ladder
the
truck
pump?
and a pump truck.
Okay,
Right, it pumps water and the ladder goes up.
okay.
It's a single axle wheelbase that the chief wanted. It's the short frame. It will give him 100 to 150 feet of length to get off of his curbings. And it does everything he needs. But it's moving, instead of putting the truck off to 2017, we're now moving up to 2016.
Slow down.
We're taking a retired truck that needs to be retired out of one station. And this might not be what the chief wants. He might come in and tell us something totally different.
Well,
It's a suggestion. That's,
doesn't matter,
right, it's a
what-
suggestion.
what the capital improvement committee asked of us is, we need your input, what's your
Right,
input?
this is my
So if we
input.
can give them a sharp input.
Right, this is my sharp
We've
input
done
right
our
here.
job.
Right.
And we can't tell them what to do.
No, I'm not
but
saying.
but
No, I
they're
mean-
asking for input, let's give it to them.
Every week, I sat in this chair, I have seen the chief come before us, he did a great job, he explained it well. Not once did I see anyone from this town come in before me and talk used truck. I'm talking used truck. I'm a firm believer, and we can get it, we can save the town money, and that's why I'm saying used truck. I don't think it's junk, I don't think the miles we do in this town, we'll get 25 years out of a used vehicle, and I think we're gonna be nailing all heads down.
I don't think we can afford it.
Did you look into,
I mean, we can get a truck.
demo trucks?
That's
that-
what this is,
The
300,000.
demo, okay,
Right.
the one that they go out and drive around and
Right.
say to fire departments,
Right.
and so it has very low mileage on it.
It has, the ones I was looking at, one of them had 6,000 miles on it.
And what could you buy that for
It
approximately,
was
and
like,
what's the
I wanna
range?
say it was $299.95, or
Yeah.
$299 and change.
Okay.
And there was other ones in there for 55 that had like, I'm gonna say some of them had 30,000 on them.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all different reasons, some of them didn't have the right length ladder, so he, that's his judgment. But a one for 55 probably only has a 75-foot ladder, not a 105-foot ladder. It may only have 300 gallons, not 500 gallons.
Because we didn't need the ladder for the height, we needed it to go
He
out
said the height
over.
and distance.
Height and
Distance
Height
was
and distance.
important
Height and
though,
distance,
right?
yeah.
To-
Height
If you had
and
to get out, maybe
Right.
over the ice or
Right.
something, I don't know.
What I don't wanna do
Grace.
is, I don't wanna sit here in front of the town people and look like I'm picking a truck out. I'm not here to pick out a truck.
No, you
I'm
just-
here to pick out the right scenario to save the town people money, to get our firemen safe in a truck, and to, get the job done. From
Right.
2017 to 2016, that's what I'm trying to do.
How do you think we can get this information then? That's all I'm, what I'm concerned about, not concerned, what I'm excited about, this is good work. How do we get this information formally over to the CIC? Say, do we have Denise communicate it to them? Do we write them a letter? 'Cause
Or
if you
do
wanna
we
do a
ask-
letter, I can do a quick draft to
Well,
her.
the
to-
way that I understood it, and the way that, Mr. Pappas left, he was saying, you're gonna have discussion on this more. We're gonna
Exactly.
come back and sit down with you again, but we're looking for input from the
Yeah, they're
board.
gonna need the input.
They
for-
want what we
before we
are
meet
embracing,
again.
is how I took it.
Before we meet again.
Right,
that's
they
the-
want,
that's the problem.
so if we're embracing a used truck, a Quint truck,
Yeah.
whatever, we need to just drop a letter to them, say, we've talked about it, this is what we decided, this is our recommendations. That's all I think he was looking for. We're not telling him what kind of truck. And there's gonna be more discussion between them, I'm sure the chief,
the chief
and I'm
is
sure, the capital and the finance. But this is our recommendation, so we're starting the ball by saying, this is our recommendation, that's it.
So if I draft a letter, and Denise helps me finish writing the letter, then it's simple, we only need Betty to come down here and sign it and send it. We don't need to meet, we don't have to be, we just, if she has discretion to be able to say, all right, I wanna tell the capital improvement committee, this is what we, believe, this is our final input, or not final, but this is our input.
Because we're flexible, we,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
this
we
is
might
our
hear
input.
something else.
But I think they need that input before we meet face to face
Right.
again.
Let me just,
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, okay.
I
so
gave
that's
you
fine.
guys this sheet of paper, but Betty, you asked me a question. One of the trucks was a Spencer Quint, truck. It had 6,000 miles on it. It had a 105-foot length.
Where are you looking?
I gave you
On this-
the
Oh, okay,
paper.
got it.
And
got
the truck was $399.
Yeah.
It was number 3, I believe.
Yeah, right.
I had
It's-
put down.
You've got highlighted in
I
yellow.
highlighted.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to say is, that's not what I'm trying to purchase. I'm trying to show it can be done with a good vehicle for a lot less money. And, they talked about in that meeting, they said in that meeting, we have a rainy day, we could need a library roof, we might have the high school, we might have this, something, this way here, we're not spending every dollar we got, we're not overspending, we're not
Ourselves.
borrowing all the money we have to
Put
borrow.
ourselves in
We're
debt.
keeping in with our means. And I stated, most cities and towns that use a truck that goes out 2 to 4 times a week, they buy brand new because of that reason. It's a
Because it's
highly
very
used
active,
vehicle
yeah.
that is used all the time. The town of Groveland does not use this vehicle. Maybe, I don't wanna quote a number because I'll be criticized, but it's not used a lot. And we can get a good used vehicle that's gonna give us 25 years of use, no problem. And a new truck, if you were to buy new, it gives you 30 years. So,
Betty, what are your thoughts?
What I'm thinking is, I would like Denise to sit maybe with one of us, the fire chief, and maybe the finance, maybe Bill Cook.
You wanna do that?
Yeah, I
As the
would,
chair?
I would think,
Yeah.
maybe some conversation, if you, Bill,
Or unless maybe you wanna have Bill do it, yeah.
if Bill would, because he knows what he's talking about
Yeah.
as far as trucks.
Last time I,
I think of, what do we need? I want people safe.
Yeah,
And Bill Cook and
definitely.
I had a little conversation.
Yep.
I said, that God forbid, we want people safe. We want the firefighters safe, we want
Right.
people in the community, we don't wanna lose anybody.
Right.
Because we didn't do our due diligence.
Right.
So I don't know, it could.
well, I can tell you, I was just reading about the handbook, the chair can literally appoint Bill to have this meeting with Denise and Bill Cook.
Yeah, I would like that, and,
I would-
and,
I would
and-
glad-
and
gladly do it.
I think we should ask the fire chief to be there too.
definitely,
And
definitely.
the
he should.
chief, of course,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly,
Right,
so would
right.
you?
I did, and
Like to
hopefully
do
the chief
that,
is
yeah.
watching, I did have a, conversation at a fire recently with the chief, and from my conversation, we didn't talk about this at all, we talked about the need of a ladder truck being brought to that fire, and I told the chief, we'll have a conversation about this truck down the road, so I do think we
So
owe
you've
him.
already opened the door.
Well, I didn't
to the
talk about this at all to the
conversation.
chief,
Okay, all
no,
right.
but his point was, he wants to have, he was talking about the last week's meeting,
Sure.
when they were in, he felt like he should have been here to talk about it, and like I said, we'll have the conversation, and I think he definitely should be in on the conversation.
So the way to do this, Betty will ask you to do it.
You
on
could
the-
be
on the-
our designee.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Exactly, as a designee. Then you have to write a report, okay?
Yep.
And then it has to be an agenda item at a
Yep.
future meeting. And that's how you
Right.
don't have a problem with open meeting law,
That's no problem.
okay?
Now, let me go back
So
one
that's
step.
2 reports now you have to do.
Right.
You're gonna get busy.
It's okay.
He's got one, he's already
So-
got his
so
work
To
done.
go back one step, and I haven't been through a budget cycle yet. The finance and the capital basically said to us that night, well, I'm looking for a recommendation from you guys, which we now have it.
Yeah.
Do they wanna come sit before us again before we get into this one-on-one?
I think once you have this meeting, they still wanna come board to board, face to face.
All those people will come in to us
Yeah.
Right.
just before we make recommendations. The warrant will be in front of us.
Right.
Where are we going? They'll ask for selectmen's favorable action,
Right, right,
unfavorable
right,
action.
okay.
But it'd be nice that we had all talked
Right,
and all feel comfortable with what we're doing, and the taxpayers feel comfortable with
Right.
what we're doing.
well, they're gonna have the last say, because they're gonna be able to vote on it, the taxpayers, am I
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
Well, I support the chair, if she'd like to provide you the status or whatever as designee, to have this appointment with the chief,
Denise,
Denise,
and one, either Bill Cook or somebody that he
at
might,
least one member
of that
of,
committee.
And the fire chief,
and the fire
Okay.
chief,
that's fine
and
with
then
me.
remember,
Just a
you-
discussion,
That's it.
and
Perfect.
how it works, and
and you
and
deliver,
crunch
what
the
happens
numbers.
is you deliver all this information.
Right.
In detail, and then you need to write a report, and, so it ends up
Right.
being an agenda, and it could be an agenda item on January
And we
26th.
may get into that discussion where the chief is saying to me, I want a new truck.
Yeah.
All I can do is say what I found, and at one point, I think it's gonna, if he,
People have to defend their position, the
Right.
reasons why.
right, and it's, I don't see a problem with
Yeah,
that.
do you remember when I asked for your approval, Betty, when we were having the Eagle Scout issue?
Sure.
I asked, to
About
convene a
going over
meeting.
to,
So I announced that, then I wrote a report, and it ended up being an agenda item. So it's the same process, and it works really well. It makes things move, because otherwise, we can't wait to meet again, board to
Right.
board, for the first time on this 2
Right.
weeks from now. We're gonna
Right.
run out of time,
Right.
It's just not
So
gonna
as
happen.
long as Denise puts it together, lets me know, I'll
we'll
make
talk
sure.
with Denise tomorrow about what
Yeah.
we'd like to do as a board.
Right.
And that you will be sitting in on that,
Right,
And just to help her along, I'll draft something,
and so she sees
so
what
she's
we've
got a
discussed
basic,
tonight.
yeah.
should we tell the fire chief like what we decided tonight, like,
I think what'll happen.
because then he might wanna go out and try and look for used stuff himself, or he's,
Well, Denise
I
will
don't know
be in
how-
touch with him.
Okay,
and-
fine.
And then
Okay, I got you.
when you all meet,
Right,
and
okay.
which will be soon,
Right, okay.
It's in a week.
yeah.
He'll have time to go back and do his due diligence
Sure.
before he comes before the other boards.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nice job, Bill.
This is
Well
very
done.
good.
By the way,
And I
there-
think Dan McDonald sent some information
Yes.
to us too,
Exactly.
about the Quint
He
truck.
did, that's
and-
where some of the
and
information
Dan
came
did
from.
his,
Yep.
you know, his best to look into,
Dan, some of the stuff is Dan's stuff as well as mine and everyone else, and, you know,
because he cares about how we're spending money and,
definitely.
Yeah,
so.
just for the record,
is
we're talking about Dan McDonald, who had forwarded me some of this information, that's why it looked familiar to me, so, I'm glad, that Dan is on the, he's on the zoning board,
CBA, yeah,
and he's also on the
he's a former GAC
the
person.
former, his
And he- I mean, he's-
Government Advisory Council, so, so that was good, thank
And
you,
Dan-
Dan, if
and-
you're listening, thank you.
I mean,
Your
Dan's
input?
very passionate to save the town money,
Absolutely,
so, you know.
we all are, you know, we have to, we have a lot of.
And to be honest with you, I
d-
didn't say Dan
departments.
McDonald because I didn't know if I was supposed to or supposed not, so,
Well, I
me,
mean,
me being green,
Well,
I didn't,
he sent us all
right.
an email, which
right,
is
a packet.
fine, and made his thoughts known to us.
Yeah, there was nothing derogatory. So we're in good shape.
Aye.
Chief Lay,
Chief
how
Lay.
are you?
You home listening to us?
Yes, I was.
Well, come on down.
Well, it's good. I have a 7 o'clock meeting though with a vendor
Oh, you do?
to
Uh-oh.
talk about speccing out a pump and a ladder. And very informative if you want to join in. Be going on for the next few hours. We met with a guy yesterday for 3 hours. We'll be a few hours on this one tonight. I'm not doing this on the internet. It's a meeting.
Good.
To spec out a piece of fire apparatus.
Okay.
So
wanna
it's a
go
good place, it's a good place to learn.
Yep.
This guy tonight is the retired fire chief from the town of Lexington. He's a career firefighter from the city of Lawrence for 20 years. Really knows his stuff. He's who we've been talking to about a demo vehicle. He represents Ferrara, which is the manufacturer. Good opportunity to get, a lot of information. I don't know how late your meeting's running here tonight, but,
Well, we've kind of jumped all over the place, but we do have a few more things to
Okay.
do.
We have a
But-
few more things.
What time does your meeting
7
start?
o'clock.
7? We're at the
he'll
fire
be-
station?
Yeah.
Is
in
it
my
warm over
office.
there?
What's that?
Is it warm over there?
Of course it's warm.
Did you watch enough of the meeting to understand what I was talking about?
I heard what you said.
Yep.
I don't understand all of it, because, in all honesty, the truck that I put in for on my plan is a Quint, okay? The difference between a Quint and not a Quint, so the ladder truck is what you buy. When you put a pump and a tank in it, it costs you about another $35,000. The range is between 20 and 45. That's the difference we have. All the manufacturers are quoting the same numbers. That's not where the money is. You'd be foolish to buy a ladder truck and not put a pump in it for the extra money. It's just, you'd be foolish, and that's why 7 out of 10 ladder trucks today are built that way, but it's not a pump. It's not an engine company, it's a ladder. So it doesn't replace, you put this ladder down here, which is where it needs to go, and now you don't have a pump in South Berlin. I wouldn't know how to explain to the residents on that side of town they don't have a pump. We need 2 pumps and a ladder. That's what we need, it's what I told you. I've gone from 3 to 2. I've shaved over $800,000 off the 10-year plan for the fire department. That's what we've done here, okay? So we need to be careful that we don't, tell the town that we found a better way to skin the cat, because I'm not sure we have. We need to meet and we need to work through this together. I applaud the effort to go online. Bill, I get those things every week. There's used trucks all over the place, and they're for sale for a reason.
Well, we did, as you were driving here, maybe you didn't hear us, we wanted to put a committee together.
It's a great
with-
idea.
With you and Denise, and Bill would be our designee, and maybe Bill Cook from our finance committee,
Good idea.
okay? So you can,
And the reason that I was looking was to try and save the town money, keep your men safe, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I understand what you're saying. I was trying to, and there is out there, as you know, there's an engine with a pump and a ladder with it for sale used. And not used with 100,000 miles, but
Bill, they're all over the place, but
Right.
you can buy us one of those, you still need to buy a pump. We need to have 2 engine companies Those are separate trucks and a ladder truck that happens to have a pump in it. You don't put the pump in a ladder truck and think you now have two engines. You don't. Operationally, it doesn't work. There's far too much risk associated with it, okay? So the plan I presented from day one with capital, you know, shaved close to $1 million off of my 10-year plan. And it was about getting smaller and faster, words I've used a lot, okay? We're truck heavy today. I want to lighten us up. It lightens up my training, it lightens up my operational cost, it proves the way we fight fires in the town of Groveland.
In all defense to me, when you were saying you're looking to lighten it up, I thought I was doing the right thing by lightening it up by not having to replace an engine. I understand you need an engine in South Groveland, you need an engine at Central. I thought you had an extra engine down there that was getting ready to be replaced, and that you were saying that you want to get
Well,
faster and lighter, and that's what I was looking at, faster and lighter.
So we're in
And
violent,
again, we need to have this conversation
here's
with
where
us
we are.
again.
We're in violent agreement. Violent agreement. I coined the phrase. We need to get in a room. The guy who's over there tonight, you get so much information in your head, Bill, you want to go home and sleep early. It's a lot, and I did it Sunday. It's exhausting. 32 pages we went through yesterday of specs. You know, you get to pick out the petcock valve on the second tank.
Right.
You know, you get to do all that stuff. And it all costs money,
Right.
okay? So if you got time tonight, you know, they're standing in the hallway right now.
If Bill has time, I mean,
We could. If you wanted to go over, Bill.
Feel free, the invitation's there.
Thank you.
I didn't
We
want you to
did.
think I wasn't sitting at home watching this, because what else would somebody do
I
on a
know.
Monday night
Right,
between
right.
6 and 7? Are you
Yeah,
kidding
the
me?
Patriots aren't on, so what the heck?
Eat
This is
Doritos,
it.
drink Pepsi, and watch the selectmen
Groveland's
meeting.
favorite
think so.
reality shows, the Board of
Um,
Selectmen meetings.
No, we did make, we said we want
Okay,
you to
that's
get
good.
together with Denise, with Bill, and maybe, hopefully Bill Cook. So
Who's
everybody,
Denise?
Denise, poor Denise
I know, I
doesn't
saw her
feel well.
today. I saw it today.
Yeah,
All right.
she was in here.
Tracy, I should have taken my hat off, right? So you know,
Right, it's not a church.
typically don't wear my hat inside. It's not just churches.
So,
Right.
we have just a few items. Betty and I could finish them off, if Bill, you wanna walk
Thank
over
you.
Thank you.
All right,
and do a fact find.
Bill, you know where my office is?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
If I don't, I can find it.
It's up to you, it's up to Betty.
Because it's good information.
Whatever you'd like to
Well,
do.
whatever your
Yeah,
comfort level,
because
yeah.
there's a pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. But
I
we
think-
know we're going to have the
We
meeting.
know we're gonna have the meeting,
We
but
know, and that's
we're
where,
talking one, I'm
you know,
talking,
everybody can be very,
I think I'm talking used and the chief is talking new. That's the difference we're having, so.
Well, we have to get to a point where the town may have to say, we can't afford. And not just to the chief, but anybody that asks
Right.
for capital,
yeah, it's not
budget
just the fire
requirement.
department, we've
Right.
got other things
We've
coming
got a
at
lot
us.
of other things, that's
And-
the problem.
We do, we know the communication system, we have to go for that.
Definitely.
That's not something that we're going to,
Put off again.
you know,
Not
buy
put off, but
used.
I sense from, again, it being a little bit of an advantage, you can only, you know, you can study minutes, you can look at a tape, but when you go to a meeting, you get a sense of what's really going
Yeah.
on.
Right.
And without any words expressed to me, or me having to make a comment, I get the sense, and we got a very good sense of that at the last meeting. The capital improvement committee is very capable of leading and making important decisions, and ultimately they will. But they really wanna partner with us, they really
Sure.
wanna share the burden with us, and we wanna,
Because it's very
We wanna help them
significant
share
what
that
we do.
burden,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So they're looking for real direction, so instead of having this, you know, conceptual idea or some theory, you're coming in with hard facts, and that's what we need. You know, we gave them consensus that option 3 is what we favor.
Right.
Now you're coming in with that category of the ladder, the fire truck.
Right.
With a lot of detail.
Right.
And we
And-
need to
and-
deliver that to them.
And the bottom line is, I'm gonna go back to say one more time, is we have been presented new with valves or whatever, new. We were never presented used. That's what I did. I don't feel bad about doing it. I went out, I
shouldn't.
found it, I found used.
You did a
And
good
listen,
job.
I can go someplace, they can tell me how good it is to be new, it's shiny, it will do this, it will do that, and whatever. Yes, it will, but there is another option. I own my own business. I can't afford to buy a new truck because I can't fit it in my budget, I can't pay for it. So what do? I have to buy used, and that's what I'm in the business of doing, and I know that. So, I mean, I'm steadfast that we can do it, and we can do it with a used truck, and I'll be steadfast with that.
So stay with us and let's
Right.
finish the meeting.
Right.
That's fine.
So we kind of jumped around here. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bill,
I'm-
for doing your homework.
I'm
and,
tracking it,
and reaching out to other people who had ideas. Absolutely. Mike's not here, so we'll probably do that at another time. Bill did his presentation. Joe, you met with the light department?
Yeah, I just wanted to, as you know, again, in the spirit of transparency, I announce if I'm gonna meet with someone, and then I come back with information. So, on the light department, I met with Mike Cloutier, who's the manager for the light department, and I'll tell you, I got such an amazing education about the law that's involved, a very unique and special law that's involved in creating our light department 70-plus years ago. And I also understand well how electricity is generated in this town, and Mike, shared information about, a recent building acquisition to replace their old building, and how they're organized and how often they meet, and I just listened. It was just really good information. It probably was worth 4 meetings, just to
Really?
learn.
Yeah.
And there's no amount of minutes or tapes that I can watch to
Really?
learn about the electric
Sitting,
department.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
again, I just finished my first year. And Betty, you've been doing this for a long time. I just finished my first year
A very long time.
on the Board of Selectmen, and I'm just trying to collapse that learning curve, and I have an understanding about the electric department that I needed to satisfy. Nothing specific to report. No, we didn't talk about any legal issues or anything, just how are you organized, what's the law that supports you, and, what are you, how do you operate, and how do you generate electricity, and those type of things. So that was very good. The other item,
They won't be, excuse me, Joe, they won't be moving actually for probably a year, correct?
yes,
At
yeah, oh, at
least a year.
least, yeah, at least. And they have within the way they're legally organized, they have the ability to replace a building. And just so that, the town knows, it's their own money that they've generated. It's not money that we have to pay for, so. So that'll be rolled out, because they have their own public meetings, so I think by the springtime, there'll be additional information that will come directly from the light department. And we'll just look for those meetings as they're posted. If anybody that's interested, we'll announce them here and say, you can go to a light department meeting and learn more. The other thing is, that if you remember, I had told you a couple of weeks ago that I was gonna attend a planning board meeting. I don't wanna report any specific observation, because I'd like to wait for the minutes to be approved. But that was the meeting I was talking about earlier. I got a great education on how subdivisions are proposed, and there was a great interaction with the abutters who had, pretty significant concerns, and how they're gonna be part of the process to address those concerns. So that was interesting. We're gonna hear a little bit more about that meeting on January 17th, I believe,
When we meet with them?
when we meet in all boards, yeah. So, just to let the public know, on a Saturday, January 17th at 10 o'clock, that is an open meeting. The public is invited. We're gonna have what's called an all-boards meeting, and that means just about every board and commission in town will have representatives here, and we're just going to have an open meeting. This is gonna be chaired by you, Betty. And just a discussion about how we can become more transparent, how we can communicate with each other better, and kind of break down some of the silos that have, developed over the years. Boards and commissions kind of working a little bit in their own little world, and we don't know what's going on, and, especially when you look at multi-jurisdictional projects, like 441 Main Street, for example. When you have multiple boards that are involved, can we do a little bit better in understanding, what the status is at the board level, and how can we communicate to make services a little bit better for our citizens, so. So that's January 7th, 10
17th.
o'clock here, Town Hall.
Saturday, right?
Saturday, yes. Yeah.
Hey, we-
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome, thank you.
Yeah.
One thing, did we do December 29th approval of minutes? Do we have those tonight? No?
No,
Okay.
oh, no, I'm sorry, right here, let's see, minutes from December 29th,
Have those?
they're
Right
not,
You have
Number
them?
10.
Number 10, thanks, Bill.
yeah, they're not subject for approval, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. we can hold off on that. huh?
Yep.
Okay. You know, we talked about policies and, are we in that selectmen discussion period?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Hold on, jumping around a little bit, because we actually have another item we can't do tonight, and that's the proposed Center Street Greenway Planning Committee. We have a no-show with them as well as Mike. I wonder if they have a meeting tonight.
They might be
Yeah,
meeting someplace else.
Yeah, maybe they didn't realize they were on on the agenda tonight. A little bit of a breakdown there, I'm not sure, but, I'll send a note to Denise that we couldn't do those two items since I'm doing the minutes anyway, so,
Good.
all right. We held off on the traffic lights, let me go through this a little bit.
Yeah, the traffic lights, we're gonna need more information.
We have correspondence. We do have the minutes, so what you wanna do now is you wanna look at the minutes and make any changes or edits,
Want to take a few minutes to get,
I already did them.
you did,
So
you
that
did
then-
read them, Bill? Okay.
so that January 26th, we can approve them. So that would be exhibit number 10.
Exhibit 10. Okay, I'd like to take these home. There's a lot of information here.
Yeah, that's the point.
Does anybody mind?
Yeah, these minutes, I produce them typically, when I do them, about 24 to 48 hours later, and then they're really designed for us to pick them up the next meeting and then approve them a meeting after that. That's the whole idea. So if you want to make edits or whatever, you
Right, thank
see
you.
some changes, or at the end of the day, anybody that takes minutes, you do the best you can to try to capture the essence. But if I haven't captured it in a way that's you're comfortable with, you certainly have a right to make an edit,
Bless you.
absolutely.
Bless you.
Same, Bill, same thing.
Yep.
I am looking forward, though, by the spring, that we have a solution about taking minutes, because it's really,
Well, I think you're absolutely right.
yeah, I'm not,
It's a burden.
I'm doing it because I'm volunteering to do it, I just don't wanna create another backlog of stuff that's gotta be done.
Yeah, we need to have
But, are we
somebody,
gonna hire someone?
somebody
I mean,
on,
I don't know
to
what your thoughts are.
assist Denise.
Yeah,
Maybe they can get the tape, or the minutes can be recorded and they can pick it up and
Yeah,
do them at home.
I'm not complaining, it's just that
No,
I don't
but
wanna do it forever,
I don't blame you.
unless
I
you
think
guys wanna
I think it
volunteer.
sounded like in the future that Denise is going to need an assistant anyway.
Yeah,
So it was my thought that if she had an assistant, maybe that assistant could be coming in one night that we met.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
could be our secretary and write our minutes.
That would be
Build
good.
that into her
'Cause
job
that
description.
could free Denise up.
It would
like,
free her
if
up
she's
from all this
ill or
stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't
something,
want her to do
or
it either, yeah.
she's been to a meeting someplace during
Right,
the day or
Right,
whatever.
right. Well, this is a lot of stuff that we could, that the person could get all together for us and what have you, and take this away from Denise.
Right.
So I'm just filling in, and just so the public knows, I do declare it at the beginning of the meeting. Sometimes I'll bring a tape, I'll let you guys know, I'll let people know that I'm taping. And I actually sign them, I have to sign them, because I wrote them as a member. It's perfectly legal to do, you just have to disclose it.
And
And that's why we have to carefully read
But
them.
another-
because
It's a
if
lot of work,
there's
and it's
any
work that I don't wanna do
discrepancy, we need
forever.
it's another thing is Joe's doing it for a small board. Next year, we're gonna have a 5-member board,
You are.
Yeah.
so it's gonna be a lot more work.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's a
yeah.
lot more work. We really should get
Five
someone in
people.
place sooner than later, because, and if it is Dee, she's gonna spend some time getting this ready for the, you know what I mean? So if we can get another person in place by then, that would be great. I just think that
It
it's gonna
needs to
take the
be
burden off of Denise, it's gonna free her up. This person can take care of us, getting our stuff ready, and also, I'm sure she has a few little jobs around that she could put the person on, and if it's 20 hours a week, or whatever it is, I don't know what, I think it's a good thing.
Maybe less than 20.
Yeah, less than 20, whatever, you know, I think it's come time, especially with a 5-member board coming on, that we're gonna need to put something in place.
Well, we did have disclosed in last meeting that there was an executive session regarding Denise's role, so we'll look, when she gets back next week, or this week, maybe, Betty, let us know when the next meeting is, so we can integrate this concern also into that negotiation, 'cause we
Exactly.
do have to restructure.
We have to finish that.
Yeah, we need to
We
finish
have
that.
2 negotiations to finish, Denise,
Right. Right.
and one other.
Right.
Yep.
So,
So again, I'm not complaining, I'm disclosing, I'm
Right.
signing, I'm getting the work done, but I really don't wanna do it forever.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. One thing I wanted to talk about, and we talked about this at GAC. and
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it at the Board of Selectmen, is
Mm.
having a policy. Remember, we talked about people serving on boards and them overlapping?
Yeah.
Especially some boards, if you have, like, capital planning. I mean, there's a big financial component to that.
Yeah,
And then if somebody wants to get on that board, and then they wanna be on another, like the finance board,
Right.
that's a conflict, I think.
well, yeah, there's certain borough, yeah, that would be a conflict, you have to
I
be.
think
I'm
so. I
on the
think-
Community Preservation Committee, there's no conflict, I'm just one out of, I think, 7 or 8. But
And
if I
there-
was on the Finance and Capital Improvement,
That's,
plus Board of Selectmen, now
it's really
it's too concentrated.
sticky, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did talk about writing a policy for that. Did we begin doing that? I don't know, but. we
Well,
can
it'll
talk-
definitely come up in an appointment. So let's say
Time.
that I said
The
to
end of
you
June.
in May, say, hey, guess what? In June, July 1st, I'd love to be on, I'm not gonna do it, but I'd love to be on both of those committees, and I'm sure you would bring that up, and we should have a vote against it, say,
Right.
sorry, Joe, we're not gonna appoint you.
Or we have a policy that says, you know what, you
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah,
it's just not appropriate
yeah,
to be on so many, especially those, they make a recommendation, a financial
Right.
recommendation, they
Yeah.
make a financial, then we sit in on it, so.
Mhm. There was a section about that, let me see if I can
Have you
find
got
it
that?
real quick, it's really good information about that. Yeah, in the Selectmen's Handbook, which is actually put out by the Massachusetts Selectmen's Association, I believe it's called, which we're members. We pay dues, it's good information. See if I was reading it earlier today in preparation for tonight. If not, I'll bring it forward at a, you know what, I'll make a note of it that I'll,
Would you, in the minutes, say that we would like to address that at our next meeting?
yeah, we're in Selectmen's time, and I just wrote that down, and I'm gonna make a recommendation, excuse me, I'm gonna write out that you would like to see policy formulation in restrictions in board membership of
And if
Board of
maybe you
Selectmen.
can cite something from that handbook.
Yeah,
that you
okay,
said.
all right,
Is that good?
all right, that's fine, that's good, and I'll write that into the minutes, okay, and I'll find it in here. There was a section specifically, the advantages of Board of Selectmen, or the importance of Board of Selectmen in driving financial policy. And it was really well-written, and I just can't find it right now, but it's in here somewhere. I'll find it. I'll express it through the minutes. Okay, good. Anything, we're in Selectmen's time, I have a couple of items, so.
Okay, very good.
Did you have anything else?
No, yeah, I just have this from Denise, and this needs to be signed. It's regarding her time off request. She's been ill, so
Okay.
she's using sick time in the personal.
She need a signature from all of us?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe we should all sign it. Yeah.
Supervisor, you can sign it, yeah. All right, Selectmen's time, a couple of items. Hold on a second, I have written them down. The first item is the Massachusetts Municipal Association and the wire services at the state sent us information through our emails that Charlie Baker's one of his first actions as governor was to release $100 million for Chapter 90.
Saw that, that was wonderful.
That was wonderful. There was, for road repair and maintenance,
Yeah.
we have what's called Chapter 90 funding. I know you know this, just for the public.
Great,
The state was approved for 300 million. Governor Patrick held on to 100 million for a variety of reasons. Charlie Baker, as soon as he became governor, released that 100,000,
100 mil,
100 million.
yeah.
So what does that mean for Groveland? We were gonna get, I think it was 200 and,
214.
214, and we're gonna get 320 instead.
That good,
So,
that wonderful.
and I will state here publicly, and this is just a wish and an opinion, I'm not directing policy, I would love to see some of that go to the cemetery for the roads, remember? We talked
Right,
about, you know, if you can
and I
do
don't-
3 roads, do 1 in the cemetery, if you can do 4 roads, do 1 in the cemetery. But we'll express that to Bob when,
Absolutely.
in the appropriate form.
When we see him and discuss, you know, what we're going to get accomplished.
What
Right.
continues to be a problem with the budget is it's still not off the table, and that is a potential hit, if you will, for lack of a better word, against Chapter 70 money, which is busing for our regional school system, and also special education. I would be really, really concerned if there's level funding or a cutback, especially in special education for our district,
It's huge.
and busing. And of course, that's a school department matter, and it's gonna trickle down to us. But I'm hoping,
Hopefully they're gonna get a grip on it right away.
I hope so.
I
And-
think you'll be surprised.
And the last item is so the things that are definite is we're gonna get more money for Chapter 90. And the other thing that's definite, he is not gonna cut local aid. So our town is not going to get a cut in the aid that we should be getting from the state. So my only concern is special education funding and Chapter 70, which is the busing, and a few other programs like pre-K that are, you know, that Governor Patrick had put on the chopping block, and I was like, oh, I hope not. So we're gonna find out. And what's really nice is that we belong to the municipal, Massachusetts Municipal Association, so we get real updates. You know, it's in our emails, so I wanted to bring that forward.
He also had sent, I don't know if he sent, you guys must have got it, he invited us to go to the Boston to his upcoming, State of the State address. He invited all the towns and.
Yeah.
press.
Yeah,
So. I
on
don't know
the
whether-
23rd, I think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
might not be a bad idea to attend it.
Maybe, yeah,
maybe one of us can go.
absolutely.
Or we can even tune in, we can also we can sign up to tune in, so we can hear it live through our computer, so.
The great thing about Governor Baker is he was a selectman, so he
Right.
knows about,
Yeah,
Right, good
budgets
point. He was a small businessman and he was
Exactly.
a lot of things.
he's got, you know, because this is a business.
It is a
No matter
business.
how you slice and dice it,
Yeah.
it's still a business. And we have to balance a budget, because if we don't have any oversight, we can,
I know,
Being hot water.
I'm optimistic with this new administration. I'm looking forward to a lot of good things, and I think he's gonna be very small business savvy. I think he's gonna be town savvy to understand what the towns need. And I think we're gonna have a good 4 years coming our way. I really have a good feeling. I do.
good, I hope so. Joe, do you just wanna sign that for Denise?
Yeah.
The 3 of us.
Yeah,
should do
maybe,
that.
just to
I
be
don't
safe.
mind. Just-
The last item that I have for selectmen is I did get a call, I actually put in a call over the weekend to Chris LaCory, because there was a transmission problem with Comcast over the weekend. And also, we had a blacked-out screen on Channel 9
We
for
sure
the
did.
entire weekend.
With a little humming noise or something going on.
And Chris basically, I won't go into the details, but there were some technical issues that needed to be resolved. A fair amount of it had nothing to do with us, it was just problems from Comcast.
All right.
So those issues were resolved. Very specifically, one of the concerns that I had, that several people have, I think had told Bill as well, and communicated to me, was that the last meeting, the microphones were very muffled and staticky, and and when Chris explained to me that when he played the tape here, the recording here was crystal clear, but in our home, we had an issue,
So
and
that was a Comcast
that was
issue?
a bit of a Comcast issue as well. So he did get a tech in here, and he also worked with a couple of items, you know, some technical issues to resolve that. One of them was a strip that was left on that should have been on.
Power strip?
Yeah, power strip. So this stuff is really complicated. I mean, you know, would commend these guys for grappling with 21st century technology. After 10 years, we have a major upgrade. Again, God rest his soul, Ken Hamilton's vision and the board, which I was very pleased to join. But there's still a bit of a learning curve. You know, we still have technical issues, and some of them are not totally related to us or caused by us. So we're still learning. So many thanks to Chris. But I just wanted to give that update. We should hopefully have a better transmission tonight, hopefully, so.
And to Kenny Hamilton too, because it was his vision to
Yeah.
get this up and running,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he would be pleased.
Yeah,
I think he
absolutely.
would.
I had a question. When do we need to have all our work or the board's work in place for the upcoming budget? And to go before I know it goes before the school for the ultimate vote.
Well, Denise has asked, I think there was a deadline, was it last week, that everybody was to submit a budget to her?
Yeah,
So I think it was last week,
Right,
maybe.
so that, after it gets submitted to Denise, there's not a lot more talk, there's still gonna be more conversation about
oh, yeah.
what's gonna happen. So when would the actual final deadline be before?
We'll have a deadline, because we have to send that budget off to town council, and
Right.
they have to go over it.
Right,
And town meeting is.
it's May, right?
No, April, the end of April.
Oh, April,
What is it, the last Monday in April?
Yeah.
And
oh,
then
wow.
voting.
So, March,
We
So-
never really know what we get until July anyways from the
Yeah,
state
we-
ultimately, but.
So we
Wow.
kind of held
But
up.
we have a 90% certainty of how things are gonna pan out for July 1st fiscal year beginning. So what Denise does now is just collect information from what the departments need to operate with.
Right.
And that's really gonna happen.
And that finance committee will bring all those department heads in and talk to
Yeah,
them.
and,
Right.
right.
After
everyone.
everybody submits their, you know, you
Mhm.
kind of have to go in and,
so ultimately, it's the finance committee's final decision of everything, pretty much.
It's our final decision, it's they'll
Their
recommend to us.
recommendation,
Yeah.
our
To
final
us.
decision.
Everybody advises us ultimately.
Uh-huh.
We're on the chopping block for all of it.
I think I was tonight.
So,
no, I don't think so. I
Get
think
your,
you're
uh,
fine.
no, you
No.
did a great job,
You
though.
did,
Right.
you did.
Good. Remember, I had one idea, you came in with a book
Right.
and details, and Dan
Right.
McDonald had given us some good
Right,
information, so it was
right.
good work.
I think when we looked it over the first time, we all kind of concurred with what we liked from
Right.
Jeff Pappas's committee.
Right. And
So,
I know when the
and then
first
of course,
time,
then you
the first time it was,
massage it and do whatever you have to do to it
right,
to
I
get,
think the first time it
what
was
we-
presented, the first time I heard it, there wasn't really even an option for a used.
no.
And that was, they weren't out there, is what I heard in that meeting, they weren't out there, but I found out they're out there, so.
You did your work.
Maybe the truck pumps water and shouldn't pump water, but.
One last item that I want to recommend, and I don't think we need a vote. I think starting the next meeting,
When is our next meeting?
should be, I believe that's the
20-something, I just saw it.
26th, is there a calendar behind it?
It's on here, I saw
I
it.
think the 26th, what's on, well, have you got your phone?
January
26th, I think Denise had
26th,
done.
I thought, I just had it, I had it all lined up here. Let's
We,
see.
What would you say?
when we have at the beginning of the meeting, we have the public comment. Since the chair
26th.
is vested with the discretion to set the agenda, I think it's a good idea, starting at next meeting, that you, Betty, have the opportunity to receive in writing requests from anybody that would like to participate in public comment.
Mhm.
So, to have it completely open-ended is not a good use of time. And here's an example. If you have someone that will send you an email, say, I have some concerns about, I don't know, the cemetery,
Mhm.
then, and I'd like to come to the Board of Selectmen and talk about it. Well, I can go ahead and read the rules, you've got 3 minutes and this, you can't say anything disparaging, but now not really able to help this person, because what the chair can do is, I'm gonna defer this to the cemetery commission. I'm gonna ask you to, well, actually, I'll have Denise, send your information to Denise. She'll forward it to the cemetery commission so they can put you on the agenda, and then come back to us afterwards and
Because
let us know how things worked
That is
out.
the appropriate way to do it. They're an elected board, they should hear
Exactly,
any complaints.
exactly.
Or kudos, whatever's
Exactly.
going on.
Otherwise, we subject ourselves to hearing complaints
And we,
on matters that we have no jurisdiction over. That's really the primary reason. Now, Kathy Castronellis today came in and presented us with a beautiful letter, but she had actually sent an email to Denise requesting, to come in, and I said, well, that's the way it should be, so. So I don't think we need a vote. I think vested in your authority and your discretion to set the agenda, we'd like to get the public to know this, so
but
hopefully.
it would be good to say, really, that
Yeah.
you should have taken that
Yeah.
to the commissioners.
Right, and it could be maybe directed the right way in the beginning and not waste their time
Yeah.
coming into us.
I mean,
Maybe at that point Denise would say, maybe this is where you need to go.
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
it helps defer
And I'm sure
people
Denise-
coming in getting frustrated in front of us
Yes.
because they can't get the answer they wanted.
Right,
Basically,
and they
the-
leave
Yeah,
frustrated.
the person
'cause-
that sets the agenda basically is the chair and the
Right.
finance director.
Right, but even even if Betty saw it, Betty may say,
Judgment
it's,
call.
it's a, decision that's gonna be ultimately sent over to the cemetery, why don't you go there? And it would stop frustration, have them come in, sit in front of us, explain the whole thing, and then us say,
Or-
well, you gotta go there.
Or the risk of having something said here that,
Right, Right.
shouldn't have been said, or
Yeah, we
somebody's
also wanna
character
control some people can create liability for themselves by,
not
not
understanding
not
that they,
understanding, the
This
cameras
isn't
are on and you're gonna disparage someone or defame someone. There's always that risk anyways, and we don't want, that's clearly in the rules anyways that I read out. I didn't have them tonight to read out. But if Betty, if it pleases the chair, starting next
can
meeting,
remind people.
if anybody does come and say, well, sorry, we're gonna ask you to come back and submit your request in writing. I mean, we might make an exception if it's something easy and
Something
quick,
easy
but.
we could
Yeah,
remedy.
but we wanna get the public into the habit of sending a written request to participate in the public comment, so that we can better direct them as to whether that forum is appropriate, for their needs to be heard, so.
Right. I agree.
Okay, good, thank you.
Everything, we addressed everything we should have
Let me just
addressed?
double check. I think we got everything. We jumped around, but we went through all the votes,
Good.
yeah, correspondence items. So you guys are gonna read the minutes that I wrote from December 29th
Well,
and make
and then
comments?
the next time we meet on the 26th.
Yeah, they're
we
gonna
can-
come up, yeah, they're
we
gonna
can
come up
vote on
for,
those.
they are gonna come up
I'm gonna
for,
work on calling Cambro and dealing with finding out all the information we need to know about for Cambro.
yeah, so you've taken on some projects tonight, so it requires,
Well, the first one right now is Cambro, the other one would be,
Yeah.
once I hear from
Yeah.
Denise, when we're gonna meet, I'll meet with her, and we'll
so type something out and submit them
I'm
to
sure
Denise.
I'm sure we're gonna have to assume some, the costs associated with maintaining those
Oh,
lights.
sure, but
I'm sure we need just to
we need the
know.
information, Bob O'Kelly might already know
He might know
the
the answers
person
to
that's,
that.
yeah, all the
Yeah,
answers.
because he
right-
worked with all those
right,
guys down
right.
there.
But again, the ownership would be the light department, and then who's the company that actually worked on it? Maybe they can pass over, maybe they've already passed over the information, we don't know that in that letter. The letter was very vague, other than, it was more about the billing of the lights, more or less, that I saw.
It's like, here you go, here are the lights.
Right. So we can
Here's your
ask
bill.
a few more questions, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
No, that was
I'll get
good.
the
That
answers,
was a good-
and
that was a good-
I'll get it typed
good
up and get it over to Denise and forward it on to you guys.
So to, motion to dismiss? Dismiss, I'm
So
dismissing
mo-
everybody.
So moved, and no discussion.
Seconded,
What, be dismissed now? It's like
Gonna
I'm
be
a teacher.
dismissed.
yeah.
Okay,
Very
all
good,
in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
all right, thank you,
Tracy.
well done. Thanks,
Cold in here
Tracy.
tonight. Tables are cold.